Hello everyone, my name is James Carter, and as usual, we're going to be talking about the IIoT, or the Industrial Internet of Things to be specific. With me today is Dr. David Drake, Founder and Chief Innovation Officer for AMI Global. Welcome, David.
Pleasure to be with you.
I had the pleasure of joining David for his webinar in May, which was the introduction phase to his series titled A Roadmap for Digital Transformation. In that series, a lot of really good questions came out towards the end of the session, and subsequent to that, we've had several come in via email and social media, and we thought it would be a good format to open this discussion up to a broader audience. There's a lot of great questions and a lot of very common ones that we're seeing coming in from industry. We thought we would get going on that today. So to get this started, we should do a quick introduction to AMI. David, I understand AMI was founded over a decade ago to serve the water industry, specifically in agriculture, with some remote monitoring capabilities. We maybe look back on that now and I guess we might call these basic capabilities. Certainly a decade ago, they were quite advanced, and since has evolved to be a leading IoT service provider, specifically helping industrial OEM equipment manufacturers transform their products digitally and offer more remote monitoring capabilities and advanced IoT capabilities to their field assets. So to clarify for the audience here, we're not talking Industry 4.0, we're talking primarily the focus on actually digitizing existing field assets and creating new product lines and new product offerings. David, how am I doing here? Maybe you could chime in with the 10,000-foot view of AMI.
Thanks, James, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. So just to kind of get started quickly, AMI is an IIoT company. We've been around the block for about 10 years. We concentrate on industrial equipment mainly. We are a full stack company, and what I mean by that is that we have products from hardware gateways, edge devices, and all the way to cloud communication, and of course the algorithms and everything else that goes within the cloud and within that. So it holistically, what we are best experienced in and what we're really good at is solving problems when it comes to IoT. So a lot of our clients, usually OEMs, come to us and they request, oh, how do I digitize? How do I digitize my product? Those are some of the things that they come to us with. And that's what we spend a lot of our time on. Work with Fortune 500 companies and mostly white label our products for our OEMs. 10 years ago when we got started, it was hard because there wasn't the acronyms that you see today. Nobody was talking about IoT. Nobody was talking about cloud. So we actually had to spend a lot of time explaining what this connectivity means. What does it mean to connect your machines, connect your devices? And we started in the water and agriculture mainly because, surprisingly, in the United States and globally, agriculture is the most receptive to modernization than any other industry. So farmers are always trying to reduce costs, increase productivity, increase efficiency. So that's where we got started. And that started to bleed into other industries. Mainly, a lot of farmers, of course, use wells and pumps, and they wanted us to make their pumps smart. And they wanted us to reduce some of the expenses that would go down with that. Because if a pump, which was a single point of failure within the farm, if it would fail, they wouldn't be able to irrigate. And it's a very, very expensive product. And also it costs a lot because although the water was coming out of a well and it was free, they had to use a lot of electricity to pull that water out. So efficiency was important. Regulatory compliance was very important. And as we started making those pumps smarter, we got the attention of a lot of manufacturers. And they came to us and said, hey, you're making my pump smart and you're making my end user happy. Let's talk. And that's how the market started. And of course, as IIoT was catching up, we knew everything eventually is going to get connected. A lot of these OEMs got smart to the idea, well, my other industries can benefit from it. It's not just water, oil, food, all the other industries that use pumps can also benefit from this.
Well, it's certainly exciting times to be an IoT company, and it's definitely exciting if you've already been working at it for a decade. because there is a lot of demand and a lot of interest there. So I'm sure that's an exciting time for AMI. There were a lot of questions that came in, and I'm going to start with some of the most common questions that we've received over out of that last webinar and on the back end of it, as well as additionally on social media. So David, one interesting question, and I think a great place to start. Obviously, the industry's changed a lot in the last 18 months. We've seen a lot of companies that now say they really kind of do have a sense of what their industry is going to look like 18 months from now. They know that they need to move forward with IoT, and their bigger concerns, rather than necessarily getting a line of sight to immediate ROI, is to just create some momentum. So that there is a common question we have received in varying forms, and I'm going to try and distill it down to one. Sometimes industry leaders are asking, am I behind or am I stuck? And a lot of times they're asking, we had some early momentum, and now we feel like our projects are a little bit stalled. What do we need to do to create some momentum, and what do we need to do to make sure that we get out in front with IoT?
One of the main things that a lot of these companies are, a lot of rotation companies are focused on is ROI, right? And it's important that you can understand and measure your ROI not based on actual values in dollars right away. You have to build a product that goes to the market and creates a value over time. And part of the measurement of value in IoT is data itself, right? That data enables you to create new revenue models and new models within your system. So if things are stalled, there is probably a couple things within your organization that wasn't set correctly on the get-go to get your project started. One of them could be that your goals are set up too high, right? And people want to build an entire project of IIoT and collect data on all the machines right now and create those processes. It's incremental wins. You have to create an agile business process, an agile development process. And we're going to talk about that during the second webinar in a little bit more detail. And agile is a method that is being used in software, where in mechanical and rotating equipment, you build a product, you build it perfectly, you spend 5 years in R&D, and then you send it to the market and it works for 20 years. When you're looking at building an IIoT software or solution, you're looking at building a business process or building a business development process or a project, for that matter, to go to market that has to be agile. What I mean by that is that you're developing as you're going to the market. You're going to learn throughout that process and continuously update. A good example of that is Windows software, right? You use Windows software from Microsoft. Almost every week you're getting an update and new features. Microsoft didn't build Windows 10 from get-go. I mean, we started from DOS. I'm aging myself now, but we started and then with Windows 3.1 and so on and so forth, and we moved up. So it's the same thing. You cannot assume that you're going to build the perfect product in IoT. You have to start slow and move with that process. Your customers are going to have inputs. You're going to digitize your distributors, and they're going to have inputs. The contractors, they're going to have inputs. So part of that whole build-up that you have to do is to make sure first you have internal support within your organization if you stalled, and make sure you have champions from the highest stage. Your project is funded correctly, and get incremental wins. Don't go for the big project and big dollar spending. You can quickly create an agile Phoenix project, go to market, and start building value, and come back with data and show your data and get your internal wins and show your C-suite. Here's what we've learned. Here's how we can make our processes better. Here's where we add value. Even if that means, for example, by making the product digital, your support team now benefits from that by reducing their support calls by 1 minute. That adds value. So don't always look at it as what can I do for the end user right away, and how can I make money right away, and how can I make this product digital. It's incremental.
Thank you, David. Aptly titled, our next webinar is Developing Rapid Prototypes and Low-Risk Minimum Viable Products. How will this fit with organizations that feel stuck? Is it not that they need to better plan to have a line of sight to proof of value? Or is that potentially the stumbling block?
I honestly think that the main thing that they need to concentrate on, if we were just talking about this thing and being stuck and prototyping, is that a lot of companies set their goals very high. For example, they want to go and right away get an Azure platform and start storing data and analyzing the data and trying to get value at the highest level of that. That certainly is valuable if you have the champions, the digital champions, if you have executives responsible that are involved in setting up those high-level enterprise strategies. The enterprise itself is ready with those processes and procedures. Everyone within the organization is thinking about it. But if you're still trying to proof of a concept internally that digitizing your business models and your products and your solutions adds value, rapid prototyping is the best way to do it. And there's a lot of companies. I mean, the AMI, even we do it with our clients, right? So we have clients that they come to us, we rapid prototype within 3 weeks, we digitize one of their products, go to industry, collect data, and provide that data, that insight into what we've learned right away and gain momentum within the organization. But you have to ask yourself some of these questions, like, is the digital enterprise investments already and made primarily for competitive advantage, right? Do we have effectively use all the data we capture to drive business value? Those are the questions you ask yourself as soon as you create that rapid business model and you go to market. Certainly there is an uphill battle if you have to fight it internally to get champions created within the organizations. C-suite has to be behind it. But rapid development and rapid results with very finite goals in sight, that always adds value, right? You can use that as one of the tools you use to get internal champions from your C-suite.
Thank you, David. I think that's a great rundown on how focusing on agility and incremental milestones can really help create momentum for your organization in both two ways. One is seeing those projects actually happen, but the other is just confidence and kind of literacy in deploying these things. So you need confidence for your team to create momentum there. One of the things that was mentioned is just the focus on collecting the data to start with. So a lot of OEMs are really setting their sights, like you mentioned, all the way to the end game. And sometimes the best thing to do is just to start gathering data, see the live data coming in, and also gathering and finding opportunities where you might want to store it and use it for more future information. David, you did mention the second webinar coming up in your series. This webinar, aptly titled Creating Rapid Prototypes and Low Risk Minimum Viable Products. And it would be quite valuable for any organization that's looking to create some momentum and to start to identify and prioritize those early projects to create confidence in your organization. It's September 12th, and you can find a blue banner at the top of AMI's website. That's www.amiglobal.com or just AMI Global. Either way will get you there. You can also look to the events page to find that, and we hope you'll join us for that.